What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for March 29th, 2021. It's a thin week this week. 313 is really close, so CIG is starting to show exactly what that's going to look like. Reputation is a big part of that, so they did a huge featurette on that this week, and CIG is finally taking action against greifers in their game. I think that's some good and some bad, so let's dive into it. All right, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news, pile it into one video, and share what I think about that. So if you guys do enjoy the video by the end, make sure you hit the like button, as well as if you haven't yet, check out my live stream, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. I stream every day but Monday, so I can get this video out to you starting at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, jumping right into it. For patch notes updates on Inside Star Citizen this week, CIG shared pretty much exactly what they think 3.13 will look like. So let's talk about that with the video from ISC. They called it a patch report, and they started out with the reputation system. This is a big part of the game here, but it seems to be mostly the visual updates, as well as explaining to us that they did back-end updates to allow for the system to grow. They also updated caves, dive-in and sinkhole caves. Basically, the entrances was the big update, so looking forward to checking those out. New asteroids, nothing really special here, just asteroids that look a little bit better and different. I think it was more from like a performance standpoint for them, rather than really a huge update to asteroids in the game. It also looks like mineable asteroids look exactly the same. Industrial refineries look more industrial, but they also look more empty. Polish to the Stanton system. This is a thing that has been going on for quite some time now. This is the actual finalization of that progress. New mission types, quantum sensitive and timed missions that we saw from the Xenothreat mission come into the actual PU. Actor status updates, staggering when you get hit with weapons, as well as push-pull with utilizing the trolley system that they made, and mounted guns that are going to be spread around the Stanton system. Docking, we're going to get Merlin and Connie docking first, and then in a point 1 to a point X patch, basically, we will see docking with larger ships like the 890 Jump and the Hammerhead that we've seen videos of in the past. Visual degradation is a thing that we've talked about quite a bit here recently. Basically, your ships can get dirty, and when you repair them, they can get clean. Mining laser subcomponents is something I'm very excited for. I think most people know that I do enjoy mining very much, so learning the meta and sharing that with you guys on the YouTube channel is something that is in the plans. Ship naming, if you've named any of your ships that are nameable, we will see those names on the side of the ship. I wonder if when we lock onto the ship, if we see the name, or do we see the actual player name? We'll have to see in 313. SDF shields. How I understand this is a visual update, but when Lando explained it, it was said that it will close the shield holes. That means it's more than a visual update, so we'll have to see how that goes. And then new vehicles coming to 313 is the Cyclone MT, and in the Point X patches, we'll see the Hercules and the Nova tank. So moving into roadmap updates, a very thin roadmap update this week, but Jake Acapella, the roadmap guy, has been in our Discord, discord.gg/SaltEMike, shameless plug there, and let us know that this week was going to be light, but the following update was going to be quite big, and, this is pretty standard when you're close to a patch release. Things aren't moving anywhere, really, right, because they're pretty set in stone. So they just added the Cyclone MT that we just mentioned, as well as updated the Nova tank's image, I believe, so nothing too crazy there. Moving on to video updates, we had an ISC with a reputation featurette that I hinted in the intro. And I think we really have to start out with, what is the rep system in Star Citizen?
The reputation system that will essentially allow us to track values for a player's reputation with an entity. And when I say entity, that could be an NPC, an organization, heck, it could be a table if you want. So long as it has a persistent ID with it, we can track a value against it.
Still alive, I think.
Not only can we track a value, we can track several values. Those values are in something that we call a scope. When we say scope, we're talking about two different things. There's affinity, which is this kind of measure of how much a entity likes you, and that's common across all these entities, NPCs, organizations, etc.
Yeah, they say it themselves in the intro. This is what really starts to make Star Citizen look like a game, and more importantly, an MMO. This is where progress starts and ends, is with systems like this. So they mention affinity, and that is essentially your relationship with a person or an organization in the game. So how can we affect that?
A few different things affect affinity. It's going to be mostly your mission performance, and more specifically actually, what you do during that mission. That's when affinity will really get big boosts. It is also worth noting that we can affect affinity through just your everyday action. For organizations, affinity is a little bit different in that it kind of represents the amalgamated opinion of that organization and its members towards you. It's going to control a lot of things like whether or not they want to attack you or help you, for instance.
I think the obvious thing is you complete the mission and your affinity goes up, right? But the thing that he mentioned was also your everyday actions. He mentioned it really briefly. So things you do outside the mission system could affect your affinity with a person or organization. I doubt that is in 3.13. It was hard to tell if they were talking about the 3.13 patch or something that they could do in the future, so we'll have to see. Confidence and career is another value that we saw on the screen, so what's that about?
And then there's confidence/career. Confidence is exclusive to mission givers, and it kind of says how good they think you are at your job. Career is how an organization might be tracking that same value, how good you are at your job. The difference with an organization is that they can have several career scopes. So a security company like Crusader Security might have a bounty scope, but they also might have a defense scope or a jailer scope or any number of these career scopes that we want to track your different levels of career proficiency with different kinds of gameplay.
This is interesting, especially about the organizations. I really want to see where they go with the scopes, how soon they will tie things into mining and cargo, and not just the bounty system. So really looking forward to that. UI, we saw things like we saw rankings as well. So we're familiar with these because we currently have them in 3.12, but he hits on a key point here about them.
Within scopes, we have this concept of standings. These are the ranks that you move through from negative whatever to positive whatever, and we can tell when we assess you either through the missions or the mission givers or NPCs or however they are looking at you, what standing you are at. One of the things that we are very excited to have is these reputations giving you things when you get to those higher standings. The idea is that this is giving you benefits and rewards for progressing through the game. It's a progression system at its heart.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is the ranking system is how you progress. And right now all we have is ranks that provide higher payouts. And once you tie in actual rewards to the ranks, this is where I see myself starting to lose a lot of time playing Star Citizen, right? So I really want to see them build off of that, and hopefully. This next part is the one that probably interests me the most out of anything in the video, and it's how organizations, in a way, have personality traits.
One of the things that we're really looking forward to is giving flavor to organizations by essentially playing with what they like and don't like. So there might be an organization that really likes it when you go around PvPing and killing other players. There might be organizations that frown on that a little bit. There might be organizations that really, really like it when you do piracy or smuggling or illegal acts, and there might also be some that aren't so okay with that. And that feel is going to allow us to bring a lot of the lore that up until now has existed on a website into the game so that you guys can actually experience it and get to know these people in the universe.
So what I like the most about this is that you can't get like the top rank in everything, at least. You can't be friendly with everyone, because if you were friendly with Crusader Security, you're obviously not going to be friendly with the gangs in the locale, right? So that's sort of what I'm looking forward to seeing. You have to make choices, and your choices kind of determine what you would experience in the game, right? If the Ninetales don't like you, maybe they would attack you more. If Crusader Security doesn't like you, maybe they would attack you on site. So things like that. Some games also have insane grinds with reputation systems. Will this be the same? Will Star Citizen be different?
And all that brings me to the topic of drift. Drift is the concept that over time your reputation might move up or down based on the mission giver organization, essentially moving towards neutral with you. Now, before you all get your torches and pitchforks out, the concept here isn't to enforce a horrifying grind or anything like that. We do want to reward you for gameplay that you already want to do on your own. But we do want to make sure also that these very high ends of reputation are things that take effort to get to and maintain.
For me, I think, there's pay-to-win aspects in Star Citizen. That's my opinion. You may differ with that opinion, and this is the equalizer to those aspects of the game, where it doesn't matter how many ships a player has. First off, they can only fly one. Second, in order to experience certain missions, get certain items, things like that, they should be locked behind these grinds. And, you know, some items, not everything, obviously. And people that play the game have to maintain that progress, and I like that. But it doesn't seem like the intention is to be really crazy grindy, and we'll just have to see how it goes. Again, right after this, they did the patch kind of review that we saw in the beginning of the video, and then we had a Star Citizen Live this week titled Gangs of Pyro, and they did a brief overview of what Pyro is first, and then they just pretended to build a gang. And, you know, no real official news here. Is one of those dev videos, so we're not really going to touch on it for week in review, but as always, link will be in the description. For other updates, this is where greifers were banned and warned by CIG for their actions in the game. But what tended to happen from this was they said excessive player killing, which is basically blanket PvP. Xylo came out and said that is not the right wording to use, and put out a fire, basically saying that excessive player killing is targeted harassment. Not actively killing players often is targeted harassment. The word should be replaced with targeted harassment is the issue here, and that's what people are getting warned for. That's what people are getting banned for. Excessive pad ramming, all these things, like just targeting someone and harassing them, going out of their way to harass somebody. That is what these things are about. PvP is not dead, and we did a huge Answer the Call about this week. This was one of my most watched live streams of all time. We had over 700 people watching us on Twitch, which is very high for a Star Citizen stream. We had all sorts of content creators and people involved in the warnings and the bans and people who were actually griefed and targeted, like Captain Richard and Morphologist, and we had Virgil, who had gotten a warning. We had tons of PvPers like Moist Noodle, Galoith, Captain Burks, Space Cullet. I think that was the whole show, was all those people. I don't think I missed anybody, but if I did, I apologize. That video will be up tomorrow because I had a lot of Premiere Pro issues. I hope I get this video up in time as well because I'm running a little bit late. So moving on, we had a Galatapedia update. A ton of small updates, but they did a really long description on Camposi Magnus. So if you want to check that out, it was pretty cool. Link in the description, of course. Sneak peek was a medical bed. Nothing surprising here. They've been talking about medical gameplay and hospitals, so why not show a medical bed? All that stuff seems to be planned around 3:14. New subflare is Space Kitten gear. I mean, I'm obviously not a fan, but it's more because the Star Kitten stuff was an extremely forced meme and just like not funny or anything to me. And on top of that, a lot of the armor is themed in one direction, so why not have some more, I guess, feminine style armor for people who are into that kind of stuff. So I don't really see too much wrong with this. It's just I'm personally not a fan. So that'll do it with this week's Week in Review, guys. Make sure you leave a like, comment on anything we discussed here. Let me know if I missed anything, and make sure you hit subscribe if you are not yet for more Weeks in Review. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.